What's up, motherfuckers? Carissa Yip is the 2025 US Women's Champion. She beat the last round Talia Cervantes, and she finished a great tournament, winning 5 points, 5 games of the last 6 rounds. Oh, yes. She made 5.5 of the last 6, or 6.5 of the last 7. I don't know. I think that he made 5.5 of the last 6. Incredible comeback. He lost the first round, and then he started to win games to finally take the tournament by half point of advantage. So now we're going to see his last victory, and this is because if he draw this game, or if she lost, she doesn't win the tournament. But with a great game, he managed to win the decisive game and taking the tournament to his house. The last year she won the tournament, so that's the second time that she won. Okay, Paria opened with d4 and Carissa with d6. Uh, I analyzed the other day another game of Carissa playing the taking Indian, so it's a player who used to play without no so much space, but she mastered the King's Indian positions. c4, and here instead of go to a normal King's Indian, she plays directly e5, who here is a good move. Uh, Against d6, okay, e4 and knight f3 was better according to Macinsa. Okay, you play d4 because you want to play a queen's pawn, but after d6 the best was passed to a king's pawn playing e4. Here, okay, c4 is not bad, but it's not the best response against d6. And here e5 good response by Carissa. Okay, here let's examine the white option. So black is threatening black is threatening e takes d4. So you didn't want to avoid that to take with the queen because now black can develop with tempos. So you can or take on e5 or play d5 or defend the pawn. For example, you defend the pawn with the knight. Here we move e4, knight g5, f5, knight c3 and c6 with a complicated game. D takes c5 is a mistake. The saving was better for black because the c4 pawn is so bad when you have the late square bishop. It is so typical. With black happened the same with the f8 bishop and the c5 pawn. Okay, the machines is equal, but this game scores also well for black, like 30% or more or less. Let's see the percents of the position. Best 32, 35, 27, 24. But it's all of what I say. It's all about the c4 pawn who is so bad place there. So Italia respond with d5, who is the main move. And now the most employed move was f5. But okay, this is the main line, and maybe Carissa has a different idea. She wants to SB for the main lines because after e4, quite typical response was e4 takes knight c3, knight f6, and now white is going to play knight e2, knight g3 to capture the pawn. And the machine say that white here is slightly better. And I prefer the white position. I think that is a little bit pleasant. But Carissa have a new, it's not a new idea, but there are so less games with knight d7, knight c3 and a5. That's the idea of Carissa. Can look strange to move the a pawn in the fourth move, but his idea is just play knight c5, so knight c5 and secure the b4 square. That's why she play a5. So typical in the King's Indian. So I say sorry that Carissa is a master in King's Indian. E4, knight c5, bishop e3, b6, defending the knight to recapture with the b pawn if in case of white capture, bishop d3, and here Carissa take on c5. Can look a little bit strange to capture a bishop who is blocked by his own pawns, and I say that this is a good knight, but now Carissa is going to game with the other knight. Sorry, I break something. Okay, Carissa now is going to game with the other knight to the square c5. And this bishop now can look inoffensive, but one day this bishop is going to be placed on c2, and one day the play is going to be open. And one day black wants to play f5, or white is going to play f4, and this bishop is going to be so useful. So for that reason, knight takes d3 is the best move. Queen takes d3, and now just Carissa game with the other knight to c5. She have a good square for the knight on c5, so now she came with the other knight. Knight f6, f3. Was better to came DLD with the knight with knight d7, knight c5 without lost any tempos with d6. So this better was DLD was better, but okay. Carissa prefers to play g6 first, knight d2, knight d7, and here Talia made an incorrect plan. Here, the best development of the king was long castle and tries to attack in the to the to the king side of black. That's why should place the king. Instead of that, she plays short castle, who is slightly worse. But okay, after knight c5, queen c2, f5, f4. Now white again is having the advantage because the center is going to be break and white have more development. Let's see that white have like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 pieces developed, and the rook is coming to e1. And white is still having many pieces in the third rank without develop. So that's why white is better here, because yeah, the center is going to be open and white have more development. It's typical that many people say that, okay, bishops are better in open positions and knights are better in closest position. But sometimes you need to open the game to have good square for your knights. Because this knight wants to go to e4 and this knight wants to go to e4. To reach this square, you should open the center sometimes. So I once watched a game of Anatoly Karpov showing this theme in a King's Indian. He opened the position to have good square for his knights. Okay, f4, bishop d7, f takes e5, bishop takes e5, and knight d4, very good move. Going to d4, and then to capture the dark square bishop, who is going to be so important because then white is going to have all the dark square who are open. So we'll move knight d4, short castle, knight c6, queen e8, and here Talia start to play so strange. She just should play knight d5, normal move. If d takes, just for example queen f2 or something, and it's clear that black have the advantage, white have the advantage because this bishop is in the same color of his pawn, and black have all the dark squares open without a dark square bishop to defend. So a part of the more development of white is just winning. And if queen e5, yeah, queen d2, threatening bishop d4 or bishop e6, depends. Bishop e6, he takes, and rook e1, and just white have more development. The black king is unsafe. This bishop is so strong. This pawn is a weakness. White have more space. So it's clear that here white have a huge advantage. Bishop h6 here was the other possibility. But Talia plays knight b5, a strange move, because later your e4 pawn is going to suffer. Now rook f7, at the same time you defend, and you defend the c7 pawn, and you avoid all the time the threat with bishop h6. So rook f7 good move. She finally takes on e5, but now it's slightly different because now the e4 pawn is hanging. For example, you cannot play queen e2 because now knight e2, knight e4 coming attacking the queen. So here rook a e1 was the best response, sacrificing this pawn, but okay, at least white have many counterplay for the pawn because has this to open 5 for the rooks. This knight is under attack. This is a very good bishop. This is a very bad bishop. White have a huge counterplay for the pawn. Instead of that, Talia plays bishop b4. Very strange move because now avoids the move queen e4, queen d2, and just bishop a6. Going to take the b5 knight. I told that the c8 bishop is very bad, so she just play bishop a6 to take the knight. Rook d1, bishop takes. And here after rook f1, queen d3 would move. Now just Carissa trade queens. And now she have a endgame with a pawn up, who is completely winning. Here a4 taking more space. Apart now, these pawns now are good. Before with queens over the board, these pawns are bad because makes that the black king is open, but now in a endgame, these pawns are very strong. So the pass pawn is a pawn, good pawn, and the a4 pawn is so good too. So knight c5 takes, and now the b5 pawn is also weak, and the d5 pawn is also weak. So she takes both. And yes, the rest I am not going to analyze this endgame because it's so easy. You have just two pawns up in a rook endgame, so it's so easy to win. Okay, and here Talia resigns. So the game is interesting until here. Then the ending was so easy until the rest of the game was so easy for black. So congratulations for Carissa Yip. I want to show us the final standings. 1 second. Youth Championship. Very good tournament and especially very good comeback. Okay, 1 second. I'm going to show us the standings. Win knockout through there. No, no fuck. I can also watch the standings and I don't know why. I'm trying, but finally, yes. If anyone is to show the standing, Carissa Yip finished in first position with 8 points of 11, earning $45,000. And as addition, she made 7.5. I'm going to make another video to show us the last round, the last game of Anna's addition and the victory who makes it to be the second place in the tournament in Accra 7. Alice Lee, who was at the top of the standing during some rounds at the half of the tournament, she didn't so bad and she finally lost. Anna Santos King, good tournament, nothing not bad. Jennifer not bad, and the rest not his best tournament. So I really enjoy the US Open, both the men's and the women's tournament. I watch, of course, I follow more the men's tournament, but the women's tournament at the end of the last round, I start to follow more, and I saw many interesting games. So okay, I only going to analyze one more game of both tournaments, the last victory of Anna Sarisian. But okay, I hope that you enjoy the US Open like me. Bye bye, motherfuckers.